Tucker Carlson recently had a recent debate, and I feel like I need to weigh in on it because I think some things were assumed that aren't necessarily worth assuming. And I think people aren't understanding what an egregious attack on the church this is. Behind me, you'll see the icon for the Methodist Church. I'm not a Methodist, but I pull this up because I think you'll recognize it. I'm sure there's a Methodist church or hospital in your town. The Methodists are dispensationalists. They believe that the era of the Bible, the different time periods, can be broken down into dispensation and are concerning either Jews or Gentiles. And so they believe then that some parts of the Bible are to the Jews and some parts of the Bible are to the Gentiles. This goes to different layers. There's different levels of this. And just like when I ask my Muslim friends, I say, are you Sunni or are you Shia? They say, I'll have to ask my imam. I'm not really sure. There's tons and tons and tons of Christians in America who wouldn't know whether they were dispensationalists or New Covenant theologians. But Tucker Carlson goes to a Presbyterian church, or at least that's what he grew up in, and they preach a New Covenant theology. The Methodist Church does not. They preach dispensationalism. And so these are both very common versions of Christianity. There are sort of three major divisions in the church. The first one is Arminianism versus Calvinism. We're going to get into that in a minute. The next one is dispensationalism versus New Covenant theology. And then finally, we have sort of the amillennial, postmillennial, and the different variations of that. The views on, I believe it's eschatology, which is your understanding of the end of days. And so this is going to be a series of small, short, sort of longer form videos than I usually put up. But my arm gets tired and I don't know how to edit. And so you're going to have to bear with me just a little bit. So we'll be moving on to the next slide and the next video.